Hey, welcome back. It is now March 16th of 2020, and a lot of Star Wars fans around the world have been very curious about the future of the Star Wars franchise by Disney and Lucasfilm, to see exactly what they are capable of doing past the Skywalker saga, and of course with the new mythology of the Star Wars universe. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, the thing about Episode 9 was, of course, this movie in and on itself was a film that was the culmination of the Skywalker saga, a very important film by Disney and Lucasfilm to really succeed at developing the very end of the Skywalker saga, which a lot of fans out there had a lot of issues with exactly how this movie really ended between Palpatine, Rey, Ben Solo, etc., and exactly what they're going to work with for the new Star Wars films and, of course, the new Star Wars universe. Now, with that being said, we do know that, of course, the Disney Star Wars trilogy had a lot of production issues, especially with The Last Jedi and The Force Awakens in the very beginning at the time, which ultimately led to The Rise of Skywalker having by far the most difficult production for, of course, the Star Wars trilogy by Disney. Now, the thing about director and writer Rian Johnson, we do know that he was the one primarily responsible for the great divide between Star Wars fans. The great, reason as to why there is even a backlash, from the Star Wars fans against The Last Jedi. Now, with that being said, what's rather intriguing is that now that The Rise of Skywalker is out in theaters, many fans around the world have been very interested in the future of the Star Wars franchise by Disney and Lucasfilm, where currently Disney has multiple plans in order to reunite the fans around the world, and that they are working around the clock to bring Star Wars back to its roots. However, it's noted that during and after the premiere for The Rise of Skywalker, many changes were happening behind the scenes, and since the release of the movie, changes have been made to the future of Star Wars. It said that behind the scenes, Rian Johnson was very sorry for what he did to the Star Wars franchise, as it created major backlash and left with a scattered Star Wars trilogy that is actually now divided into 3 separate Star Wars movies for other creators to take over. It's explained that Rian Johnson also heavily regrets killing Luke Skywalker at the very end of Episode 8, mainly because of the fact that it created backlash and, of course, his role in the Star Wars universe being shattered. Currently, Johnson is said to not have permission to give anybody a true answer as to what is happening with his new Star Wars trilogy. However, the truth is that Bob Chapek, the new Disney CEO, put an end to the concept of Rian's trilogy, and that it is going under major changes to the point where it's not even close to Rian's original concept. Rian is described to be sorry for The Last Jedi as a film because of where it ultimately led him, and the history of the Star Wars fan backlash that he will now actually forever be attached to in his career in the film industry. So the thing about Rian Johnson, of how this ultimately led to pretty much him no longer getting his concept of his new Star Wars trilogy because of The Last Jedi, and that's the reason why he is sorry. It sounds more like he's sorry and regretful that he kind of made specific decisions that did not allow him to make the movies that he wanted to make, and the specific decisions in The Last Jedi that led him to not being the one to control the new Star Wars universe, as Kathleen Kennedy originally wanted him to take control of all of this. So the thing about Rian Johnson here, this really is a big deal because it tells us, the fans, that, he's not necessarily sorry to the point where, it's for the fans, I guess you could say. It seems more like he is only pretty much self-absorbed in himself, and only because his, future Star Wars career, or whatever have you, has been pretty much put into multiple different directions. His new Star Wars trilogy is now separated into 3 separate Star Wars films. The entire concept of him developing a brand new galaxy deleted by Bob Chapek, and even for him taking control over the new Star Wars universe, that was also put to the wayside. So that really does, kind of just spell us the truth here as to exactly what Rian Johnson really thinks. He's not truthfully sorry for the fans from what it seems. It's more so that he's sorry because of where it led him, right? Now, the thing about the future of Star Wars is that is exactly what the new Disney CEO, Bob Chapek, wants to do. He wants to create more authentic stories. And that's the other thing, is that they want more experienced writers and directors on board for, of course, the Star Wars universe, or at the very minimum, directors and writers that have worked with other Star Wars related talents out there. So when you think about it like this, you know, when we look at the future of Star Wars, I honestly think that it's going to go in a positive direction. I think that we really are in for quite a surprise for the years to come, given that now Kathleen Kennedy no longer has creative control over these new Star Wars movies and these TV shows, etc. And the fact that, you know, the new Star Wars trilogy by Johnson was pretty much divided into 3 different movies, I think it just tells us that things are really starting to shape up. So anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
From night to moon, we hear them moans again.